And welcome back, ladies, gentlemen, gungans, droids, whatever you might be. Say it. Say it now, my fellow Kyber Clubbians out there. It's great to be in the Empire today. Folks, I'm glad you're here with me today because we're going to have a little bit of fun conversation about the next big faction that it seems like nobody's really talking about. I think this slipped under the radar. Maybe it's partially my fault as your king and troopy God's gift to mobile game of the 8th day of creation. We have the fine video game division that I am the director of, and the Empire of the Kyber Empire, supreme ruler of the multiverse video gaming route. We have too many titles to get through right now. It's partially my fault for probably not getting the conversation going because this is still news to people. As you guys know, Baylan Skoll is right around the corner in Star Wars Galaxies, and we've been building up the requirements, but we were told there's a new faction coming to the game. And I think you and I, we're going to start getting a little of our deciphering game on. So throw on your tactile scanners and let's get chit-chatting, people. Come on over. So again, not too new. Baylan Skoll, we know, was confirmed for Star Wars Galaxies about a month ago or so, whenever the Road Ahead came out this past July. And in there, we already started getting some of our requirements since then. To recap, because the other day on stream, some people didn't know that we already had some of our requirements confirmed. Morgan Elsbeth required at Relic 7. Grand Admiral Thrawn is going to be required at Relic 7. Old Doc is just a placeholder for the Great Mothers, which I suspect this upcoming Monday. So whatever that is from now, 5 days from now, I don't know. You do the calculations. We're probably going to get the Great Mother kit reveal and finally get to see Morgan Elsbeth in action, because right now Morgan Elsbeth is Morgan Elsbeth! I'm hoping she's a little bit better, though, once we get the Great Mother. Very confident at. However, that's all we know right now. So if you're wondering, is there anything else confirmed? There has not been. Besides these three characters, Old Daka being the Great Mothers, as a reminder, yet again, we don't know anything else that's going on. I want to believe there's a few more details they left out conveniently. I think we're probably mimicking the Bo-Katan Mandalore event in terms of requirements. I'm expecting at least one more character to be confirmed, because as we know, there was 4 characters confirmed for Bo-Katan, all required at Relic 7, conveniently, very much so like Baylan Skoll. I want to believe there's one more that they're leaving out, and I want to believe it's going to be Shin Hati, the apprentice that Baylan Skoll took on inside of the Ahsoka Tano TV series. Maybe they go more, maybe they go less, but I think 4 is what they're shooting for. You could also say maybe Merrick would be added as well, the giant Night Sister fart that I told you guys don't get excited about. Everyone's like, oh my God, Star Killer. It wasn't. I saw the future. No one wanted to believe me. Anyways, that's just a little summary of where we are. The question is where we are going. One thing that, again, kind of slipped under the radar, not many people talked about it. Again, I'm going to take blame for not sparking the conversation more, but we're going to spark it now, just like that spark to the resistance. Yay! No, we're going to have a greater spark than that, Gary. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. Just a reminder, here's a little image right here kind of reminding us here. We are thrilled to celebrate the Disney Plus show. You can't even find this in game anymore, I believe, with the newsletter. Show Ahsoka Tano with plenty of exciting releases over the coming months, including Imperial Remnants, which we're building right now. We're still waiting for Enoch, which I'm guessing another 3 weeks, 4 weeks, probably until we get the key for that. Night Sisters, which is Morgan Elsbeth, and the Great Mother, likely coming next week. And this right here, a new Mercenary tag. And Ahsoka's own new squad. And again, just to confirm that this isn't a bunch of baloney here, Baylan Skoll is the upcoming epic confrontation character. What the future is, hard to say. My speculation is that this is going to be required for an upcoming Galactic Legend Thrawn lately. We'll have to wait. We'll have to wait and see. I'm speculating. We got to first see if they're going to require Bo-Katan Mandalore for Galactic Legend Ahsoka Tano. Yeah, I'm calling it right now. Baylan Skoll is required for a potential Galactic Legend Thrawn around the corner. But now the question is this. Since this is a little doodaddy that was dropped on us, this is gonna be a tag, and the Mercenary tag, I suspect, is gonna be pretty robust. Now, the thing that I've been noticing when I've been having some conversations with people behind the scenes, people are like, hey, just like this guy right here. We have this dude right down here. Gary, yeah, go ahead, bump me up to the top. Sad Charlotte Hornets is saying, is that just another way of saying bounty hunters? And no poor soul responded to this. I swear again, like no one was talking about this. So there is a distinction, albeit it is mild, small. It could also be a little gray. There is a distinction between a mercenary and a bounty hunter. Let's just show you the official definitions of both. And you know what? What better person to go to for a question like this than Hondo Onaka? Hondo Onaka has shed light on this conversation, but first let's pull up the lesser forms of info. Yeah, was it Webster? Yeah, Webster. Yeah, whatever. The frickin' dictionary. No one cares about him. Here's the official definition of a mercenary, and I'm gonna go with the noun version because usually tags are, I guess, probably nouns in Star Wars Galaxies. Again, I'm not a linguist. Some people confuse. Yeah, I have some legal background, but that doesn't mean I'm a linguist. Two very different things. Anyways, as we can see here, I'm just gonna go straight to noun. A professional soldier hired to serve a foreign army. I actually think that's maybe a little too specific. A little too specific. I think I would go a little bit broader and call it a hired gun. But what's the difference between that and a bounty hunter? Let's go ahead and check out the bounty hunter definition. A person who pursues a criminal or fugitive for whom a reward is offered. The film follows a bounty hunter who was caught in a Wyoming blizzard with his female prisoner. So I think hopefully we can see there's a slight distinction. Someone puts a bounty on somebody's head out there. You know, let's just put in the context of Star Wars. Jabba the Hutt put a bounty on Han Solo's head. There's people that like to chase those bounties that people put. They capture someone, they kill someone in exchange for money. That's it. I would say a mercenary is a little bit broader in scope as well. It's a hired gun. As we're going to kind of discuss some characters that I think could fit the hired gun scenario here. These are people that could be hired to serve a military purpose who otherwise don't really care for either side of a conflict. For example, let's say you wanted to hire someone to just a random mercenary to infiltrate someone's base and blow up a bunch of ships. That would be a mercenary, for example. So there's a slight distinction here. I would actually say it's a much broader faction than bounty hunters, potentially. We just might need to add some more characters over time. So you're not necessarily just hunting down people that have a price on their head. I think that's the distinction. But again, who cares about what I say? Yeah, I might be the king of Triple B. Come on. The king of Grand Arena, all those other funny things. But the person we really need to go to for the source of all intel is going to be Hondo Onaka. I can't believe it. Look at this. This is all we need to know. Here's the official definition right here. Forget everything I said before. In some ways, a mercenary is like a pirate without a crew. In other ways, not so much. Just so enlightening. These soldiers of fortune sign contracts with their clients in hopes of amassing great wealth, a decision I can respect. But the mercenaries most in demand are the ones who do only what they are told and ask for nothing more than the credits they were promised. While a pirate takes great pride in their independence and ambition, a mercenary has no real goal and will simply fight for whomever is willing to pay them the most. There you go. Hondo Onaka said it best. I actually think this is quite interesting. We have this little article here, or this little Wikipedia page right here, that has a whole definition on mercenary, and what do you know? What do you know? Baylan Skoll is on here, so even they are already ahead of him. Like, yeah, Baylan Skoll's mercenary, which makes sense. He was hired by the Empire, the Imperial remnants, to fulfill a job. So you can see right there, you don't need Baylan Skoll is not a bounty hunter, but he was hired by, in this case, a military organization to fulfill certain duties that they would want to have. I think another one, for example, Rook. He made some appearances in Star Wars Rebels, right? He also made an appearance in the Thrawn books as well. He was hired by a military organization to do certain tasks. Again, not necessarily a bounty hunter. So hopefully we're kind of seeing the distinction a little bit. We're going to show some in-game examples that we already have. But if you just go peruse this article, they already kind of point out a few things. Mayfield, I'm surprised we haven't gotten a Mayfield yet in Star Wars Galaxies, but yes, he was a mercenary during the New Republic era. I'm not going to read everything for you here, but you can see there's some names here. Jedi Padawan Tai Yorick here. We have ADW4, and then if we keep scrolling down, check this out. The Bad Batch, yeah, they might not have been Rook. They might not have been Baylan Skoll and some other characters we're going to highlight here, but they were mercenaries. Just because you're a mercenary doesn't mean you have to go out and do evil deeds. You could be hired by the Rebellion, by the Galactic Republic, to do some things. So again, evil's just a matter of point of view if you think about it. In my view, I think the rebels are the evil ones. Anyways, I digress, but here, during the Imperial era, Bad Batch Tech, Bad Batch Hunter, Tech Wrecker, Echo, and along with Omega, they served as mercenaries. We also have other things. For example, we have Jedi Knight Bode. We don't have that inside the game here. Cassian Andor, just kind of highlighting some things that we currently already have in game right now. And then if you kind of move down here, Han Solo, another one. He was a mercenary for the Rebellion for a little bit there. He did it for the money rather than for the Rebel Alliance. And then we have, for example, Din Djarin, who was a mercenary for various organizations. Cara Dune, was also a mercenary. Mayfield, as we said right there, and a bunch of other people right there. And as we can see here, Jedi Knight Baylan Skoll and his apprentice Shin Hati, a duo of mysterious mercenaries. Both came to free her from the New Republic custody, as we saw. She also had a former Imperial Inquisitor Merrick working for her. So that's the kind of all the stuff we highlighted at the beginning. But I think there's one more character to come. If there's only going to be 4, likely Shin Hati is going to be the one that they're going to add. It'd be a big missed opportunity. Merrick, I hope if they do add Merrick, when he dies, he just turns into a Night Sister fart. That was my favorite thing of the Ahsoka show. I can't. All right, so what I want to do now that we kind of see that there's already some examples, there's already definitions, and it's already kind of falling in place with the building blocks that CG's already kind of setting up for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. What other characters could we currently see that are in-game that could benefit from this? Well, we're going to do a little bit of thinking here. There's other examples up here that were pulled up. For example, Cad Bane makes a lot of sense. He did a lot of work for the Separatists, for Darth Sidious. Also, he did some stuff in between beyond just those folks. I believe he did stuff for the Empire as well, right? Boba Fett was also another mercenary here. So again, I think Boba Fett kind of gets a little blurry. Like, was he really a mercenary for the Empire? Was he just hunting the bounty hunters, the bounties out there? It gets a little, we're splitting hairs at that point. So here are just some thoughts that I'm throwing out there. And I think this is going to be a good thing because the SWGoH faction, if you just pull up the SWGoH faction real quick, I think most mercenaries will potentially be just scoundrels. However, as we saw Baylan Skoll, I don't think Baylan Skoll's a scoundrel. He's an online force user. He's going to have a mercenary tag here. I think a lot of our scoundrels are probably going to end up here. So let's go take a look at some of the ideas that I'm throwing at you guys here. So here's kind of what I have. So I'm kind of going sort of a little bit off with just the Wikipedia length off there. They put the Mandalorian in there. Cara Dune, Cad Bane was listed. Boba Fett, I would say Jango Fett was also mercenary. He was hired by the Separatist Alliance, right? I think we can probably agree on that. I mean, I'm looking forward to what you guys are going to say down below. I love having these little nerdy conversations here. They already kind of listed that Bad Batch were mercenaries, which would be interesting. And Bad Batch right now, oh god, I love the faction. Don't get me wrong, but they're not like top shelf stuff in Territory Wars, Grand Arena. You know, a mercenary attack could maybe make something out of them. Hard to say. And then a few other things that I threw out there. Cassian Andor, Han Solo were also listed. And then here were just 3 other ones that I kind of threw out there that weren't on the Wikipedia page here. Wasn't Sana Starros a mercenary? She helped the Rebel Alliance for a price, right? Embo also was a mercenary. I'm thinking back to the Hondo episode where he had the big tank and they were defending the farmers or whatever it was. I would think Embo was kind of a mercenary. Zam Wessel as well. I think Zam Wessel, when you go back to the Attack of the Clones, I didn't sign the paperwork for Zam. I don't know what the terms of her work were supposed to entail, but she was hired to assassinate Padme Amidala, which I presume, you know, there was forces that be that wanted Padme taken out of the situation. Again, there wasn't a bounty on Padme, but someone just paid someone to try to kill Padme. So again, you can, I encourage you guys, scan through your inventories. For example, I was thinking about Hondo, but it seems like Hondo basically said he's not a mercenary, he's a pirate. There's a key distinction between the two. I would love if they maybe try to find ways to make Hondo a bit more usable. You know, there's some funny stuff I do like Hondo, but you know, it would be great seeing some of these characters get a bit more attention inside this game. So it's one of those things where there definitely will be some double dipping within the SWGoH faction. But again, I think you don't need to just look in the SWGoH faction. We got to look a little bit beyond. Just like Baylan Skoll is going to be introducing the mercenary tag, there might be stuff that's going to be on the radar that could also be incorporated here. Like I was thinking, was Dr. Aphra mercenary? I don't think she was a mercenary. I think she was straight up hired. Maybe hired, recruited. I think being recruited versus hired might be different. I don't know. For all my Dr. Aphra nerds, is Dr. Aphra a mercenary? That might be a little bit interesting. Candace Ordo, maybe he was a mercenary too. I don't know. I think there's a lot more options than I even just listed here. Those are just things I thought were very obviously going to be mercenaries whenever this comes around the corner. It is going to be a bit weird seeing the mercenary team in action. I'm curious to see how many folks they're going to be giving the mercenary tag out to. Because Baylan Skoll, let's say leading, for example, what were some examples I threw out there? Baylan Skoll with Cassian and Embo and Cara Dune and Cad Bane might look a little weird, but you know what? It's sometimes those weird looking teams that make no sense in lore that end up being the most fun. That's why I like teams like Starkiller. I like the old school days of Galaxy Heroes where you threw a Captain Rex with a Chirrut, with like a General Kenobi and a Nihilist. Funny times back then. So would love to get your guys' take on this, all my friends. So yeah, until we meet again, everyone, Get those thoughts down below. What mercenaries are going to be added to the game? And you know what? We're going to take it a step further. Who do you think are going to be the next requirements for Baylan Skoll? As always, folks, I appreciate you spending some time with me today. Always having a blast, you guys. Fun nerding out with y'all. And until we meet again, I need you guys to always please remember how it's great to be in the Empire today.